It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. And I'm only doing one jazz hands because Momo is in my lap. Ain't you, Momo? Say hi to everybody. There's the Momos. Yes. Well, you can go back to being comfy, Momos. Oh, Mommy's recording. You're going to leave? Okay, bye, Momos. He was chilling out there. All 4 feet were stuck up. You see Zelda back there. I changed the camera angle slightly more so I had less headroom. So now you can see Zelda sitting back there on the Lady Bits chair. Right, Sally Belly? Right. Yeah. Okay. So your feedback. First things first, we're going to start with Wednesday. Oh, notice the new glasses? Yeah. Finally got a pair of Gunners. $470 later. But you know what? My eyes aren't freaking stinging with the light and the screens and everything like that. So I'll take it. I'll see over time. I'll let you guys know how they're doing if there's a huge change. But yeah, new glasses. I've got to get the lenses swapped out in the old ones because I did need a slight prescription change too. But yeah, finally got Gunners. $470 later. This might be a good time to plug the Patreon. Yeah, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK, because the demonetization is real. Not as bad this week. Not as bad as last week, but yikes last week. But as for the FairTube question that I posed on Wednesday, most people gave very compelling reasons for yes. I think it's very interesting that while a great many of us are not convinced that unions in video games will do what they claim, which is, cut down on overtime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, most people were overwhelmingly in favor of this FairTube initiative. So I did fill out the thing on Facebook. You do have to answer a set of questions because one of the concerns was, how do you know it just won't go to shit? It's a closed group. So you have to fill out a series of questions when you join. One is, do you have a YouTube channel? They ask you how many subscribers you have, what the link to your YouTube channel is. So they are doing some quality control. And then they say, the only rule we have is be polite. So they can kick you out for being rude. So, that one rule, the owners of the group get to decide what's rude. Them's the rules. But they do have a screening process. So they are vetting people. So that concern, I did join. I was approved. So I'll keep tabs on that. Moving on to the rest of the week. The loot boxes thing. People were very amused by that thing that just happened with the ad, which was funny. Bexulation. There we go. New commenter, never seen this commenter before. Maybe I just missed it, but welcome. Bexulation said, I had never heard someone sum up why we game so succinctly because it's the only place we can still feel like the world is some kind of fair. So Bexulation liked that one. Welcome, Bexulation. My buddy Sean Rooney, I'm disclosing he's my friend because not many of my real life friends watch my YouTube channel. Fewer still comment. Some join Twitch occasionally, but Sean's one of the few that actually watches my YouTube stuff and comments. Sean is also helping me do the FTP downloads for the Lady Bits DVD substitution. That is coming very soon. We're just working the bugs out, literally squishing the bugs with the FTP security stuff. So that will be coming very soon, and we'll be done the fulfillment for Lady Bits. But Sean said with the loot boxes that random chance is more profitable than certainty for the vendors. And that's exactly why I think loot boxes are so popular. People will spend more money on a random chance item than they will knowing exactly what they're getting, which is so strange to me. I really don't understand that. I mean, collectible cards, you're getting cards. It's actually cards that you can trade and all that stuff. You can't trade these items in games. You can't. They're usually some version of soulbound. So what's the purpose of them? Anyway, moving on. A bunch of people having very reasonable issues with loot boxes. I have issues with loot boxes. I am a big fan of, you want to buy a thing, here's the price for the thing, buy the thing for that price or don't. But there we go. So we'll just leave that there because I want to keep this somewhat short. Moving on to the Twitch over party thing. I admit this went a lot better than I thought it would. This was one I thought had the potential to get kind of splody. So thank you guys for not. There were a lot of really good comments. It was really interesting. The comments on thoughts and somebody saying like, incel is a derogatory term aimed at men regarding their sexuality. I put up on Twitter that I do find, I've said this before, right? That I do find the generic term incel to be silly. I don't think it's progressive in the fact that progressives have talked about it. I mean, I got called femcel by Hassan Piker. Like, when did incel become a gender term? It's not mancel, it's incel. So a female incel is an incel. But yeah, he called me a femcel, knowing nothing about me or anything. And it's just become this generic insult for any guy or in my case, woman, someone doesn't like. Don't you love it how people tend to go at me like I'm a guy instead of a woman on the internet? I take that as something as an unintentional compliment, that they just attack me the way most, progressive men would not attack a woman because, they have to be so woke and so feminist. No, they just come at me tooth and nail like I inspire something in these guys and they just go crazy. I feel quite proud of that. Equality. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, but a really interesting conversation happened on Twitter because I put up a tweet about how strange I find this because, deriding a man for not sleeping with everything that moved used to be considered a perpetuation of toxic masculinity. It's so strange. Like the horseshoe effect is just happening, right? And that led to a really interesting discussion about what incel means and what the insult means. And I'm personally not a big fan of identity-based insults, period. But some people said that it was it's an insult about men who hate women, who are angry at women. Well, we have a word for that. It's misogynist. And I know some people who self-identify as former incels, and they don't seem to hate women to me. And they said even at the time, it wasn't that they hated women, they felt like anger was a more socially acceptable performance than what it really was, which was profound loneliness. So, I'm not, much like any group that's connected to violence, there's a lot more of these guys who never commit violence than there are people going out and shooting people. So I'm not prepared to, even though I will be the first one to say I don't like the dialogue on those boards. It is, you kiss your mother with that mouth kind of thing. Like what? But speech is speech. Speech is not violence. And as long as it stays on the boards and they're not coming at people with it, free speech is the thing. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to think it's healthy. That's your right. And I'm a big proponent of, I can disagree with you wholeheartedly, but I will fight like hell for your right to say what you want to say. But then, we got into this whole thing about thought and whether thought should be offensive or all that and all that stuff. And I do think that any derivation of whore as an insult, I don't like it. First of all, I think prostitution should be legal. Boxers and mixed martial artists are allowed to use their bodies to make money. I think sex workers, I think it should be legal. We got to work out the human trafficking things, but I believe that sex should be safe, sane, and consensual, and that includes purchased sex. I think a lot of these social ills caused by sexual dysfunction if sexual professionals could be employed to let people work out some of these issues. That's just my personal belief. And I do not like anything that shames sex worker or makes the designation of a sex worker be some sort of insult. I don't like it. I also think it's just too easy to say. And I identify, I'm too old to do it now. Well, some people say, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I did wear a chainmail bikini and lady bits. I did do Dragon's Crown cosplay. I'm not giving myself credit, but doing that kind of stuff over 40 was just something I never saw myself doing. I don't see myself in that way. I like being over 40. I like not having the pressure to be that in the world. I know I'm strange that way, but I'm quite comfortable with myself in that regard. But I don't think anyone should be shamed if they're nice to look at and they're charming and people want to talk with them and flirt with them and tip them on Twitch. I have no problem with that. Some people did raise an interesting point that there is a dynamic in that whole subset, so to speak, that there is an element of leading guys on, so to speak, an element of manipulation, trying to, get people to buy them stuff and things like that. I don't know enough about it to know how that exactly works. I wish I could watch more cleavage streams, but I don't have the time, and I play too many video games. But I haven't. I've seen little bits here and there. So I'll take people's word that there is a sort of manipulation. I don't like manipulation no matter what it is. I want that to be clear. I think that the problem with there being a stigma around girls that use their sexuality to make money is there's this coyness about it. There's this indirectness about it. Like this idea that, someone can't pay someone for sex, but you'll sleep with a guy and he'll buy you a really expensive handbag or clothes or a condo. How's that different? Because one is legal and one is considered prostitution. I have a real problem with that. I personally think that indirection is forced on women by society, and this is why I hold the views that I do. Now, that being said, manipulating anybody isn't right no matter what. It should be fee for service no matter what you're doing. Everyone should be totally clear, on the up and up. Consent goes both ways. A guy forcing himself on a woman or a woman forcing themselves on a guy without their consent is wrong, but also coercing or manipulating somebody into something, that's wrong too. So I want to be really clear about that. That being said, buyer beware. It's very unlikely that people like that are ever really going to be your friends. It's a business for them, and it's important to put some business separation between them and you. So if you watch those sort of streams, just see it for what it is. It's fun. Those girls are beautiful. They're really cute. Just see it for what it is, please. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Or on Dark Lord. He's got to be the top commenter on this channel. He comes up so many times on Feedback Friday. Dude, check Patreon. I left you a message about the boss fight writing. He made a good comment about this is a subset. This is a definable thing. None of the words that have been used to describe these ladies, and I think more guys should be able to get on it. Like one guy says, why can't there be cute boys doing the same thing? I think they should. I personally think that's great. Personally, I think that guys like PewDiePie and Ninja, the way they look has a lot to do with why they're popular. So I think there's a gray area there. Just me. You notice they all kind of look like they could be brothers. Related, not, you know what I mean? But like they're all cut from the same clean cut California surfer boy look with a little bit of like dangerous pink green in their hair. It's all the same mold. And teenage girl libido, I'm sure, is at play this way with these guys. So there is some of that going on anyway. But I don't see any reason why cute boys couldn't be able to like oil up and be shirtless and all that stuff. I'd have no problem with that. Wouldn't watch it, but unless they were good. If they're a good gamer, I'd watch their stream no matter what they were wearing or not wearing. But, you know, if there's a demand for that content, I think that should be allowed too. But the idea that there's no word to describe sexualized Twitch content or flirtatious Twitch content that is acceptable. And Oron made the point, if these professionals don't like the terms that are being used to describe them, make up your own term. And as somebody who, you know, self-defined the type of feminism I practice as mosaic feminism, I think this is a fantastic idea. So here's the question for Feedback Friday. Let's come up with a positive, non-derogatory name that we can use for these people who do these sorts of Twitch streams. I'm looking forward to your feedback on this. Maybe I will recap on Monday. It'll be a Feedback Monday for Feedback Friday. I'm really interested in what people come up with. Maybe we can find an alternative, because Oron's right. It's not enough to just identify a problem. You have to identify solutions to that problem, right? So let's try it. Let's do it, okay? That's my question for you. What do you call these Twitch girls currently known as e-girls, okay? Help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/Leanna K. That was very e-girl of me, wasn't it? Asking for money. Okay, have a great weekend, everybody.